Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening to this. You can hear it right now. It's for me. It's class time. Anyways, we're going to look at the discriminant. Keep it short, keep it quick, keep it simple. It's not very hard anyway. What is the discriminant? The discriminant, if you recall the quadratic formula, which said negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c all divided over 2a, is just the number that you get when you have it under the square root. That b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant. So what does it tell us? Why do we need to know this? Why do we even care? So think like on a testing situation like TSI or something like that. You could say go and do this where you could get you maybe not be able to do the whole thing, but you can get the small, like a little bit, like this would be a very simple answer to get. Well, what does it tell us? It tells us that if you have a positive answer, whatever that answer may be, greater than 0 just means a positive answer. You have two real solutions. If you have it equal to 0, you have one real solution, and if you have it less than 0, which is a negative answer, you have two imaginary solutions. So let's look at an example. Like I said, this could be short, it could be quick. Just two more examples, and hey, I could be done. Whoa! Okay, so 4x squared plus 5x plus 7 equals 0. A is 4, B is 5, C is 7. We're going to plug in those numbers into the formula. Keep in mind, I would always recommend putting the squared term in parentheses, because that way you'll likely avoid any simple mistakes. Anyways, 5 squared minus 4 times 7 would give me 25 minus 112, which is negative 87. So the negative 87 is my discriminant, and my answer, that also tells me I have two imaginary answers. Okay, so I plugged in the numbers into the formula, typed them out on the calculator, or calculated them out on my head, whatever, and then came up with an answer. That answer is the discriminant. And then from the discriminant, I can tell you, because it's negative, it would be two imaginary answers. The reason why is because, again, that number would go into that square root. And the square root of a negative gives you I, imaginary. Okay, so let's look at another example. 6b squared minus 7 plus 5b. Okay, so here's a harder example. Now, traditionally what we do is we move everything over to the square side, okay? And we usually like to keep the square positive, okay, the square term. If it isn't already, like in the notes, just leave it like that. If it is, then more likely, like on a test or whatever, I would keep the square term positive for you. So I wouldn't like to worry too much about that. But we like to move everything over to the same side as the square term. So I'm going to move the negative 7 and the 5b over. I want them in an order of b squared, b, and then number. So a is 6, b is negative 5, and c is 7. Plug those numbers into the formula. Notice again how I'm putting the negative 5 in parentheses. You get negative 143, which again would be two imaginary numbers. So the only thing is, okay, again, the negative 143 is my discriminant. I got two imaginary. Just keep in mind, like when you're doing these type of problems, that if you get a positive answer, you have two real, and if you get a negative answer, you have two imaginary, and if it equals 0, you have one real. Anyways, like I said, short, sweet, quick, and to the point. That's it for today. Thank you so much. Hope y'all see y'all the next day. Y'all take care.